Let me tell you something about men. A man may act complicated, but deep down, he's simple. He wants to feel needed. He wants to feel like he's winning. And most women don't lose a man because they're not beautiful enough. They lose him because they don't understand how his mind works. Now listen carefully. If you want a man to chase you nonstop, you don't blow up his phone. You don't beg. You don't over-explain your feelings. You don't write paragraphs trying to convince him to care. No, that's not how this works. You send him 5 powerful words. I love how you handle things. That's it. Men crave respect more than attention, and that is something many people misunderstand. Attention is easy to give. It comes in the form of constant texts, compliments about his appearance, reacting to every story he posts, or telling him how attractive he looks in a new outfit. Attention can feel good in the moment, but it doesn't go deep. It doesn't anchor a man emotionally. Respect, on the other hand, touches something much more powerful inside him. It speaks to his identity. It tells him that he is capable, that he is competent, that he is trusted. And when a man feels respected, he doesn't just feel admired, he feels significant. For many men, significance is everything. From a young age, they are often taught that their value is connected to what they can do, what they can build, what they can provide, and how well they can handle pressure. Whether that pressure comes from work, family responsibilities, or relationships, a man measures himself by how effectively he navigates challenges. So when a woman acknowledges not just his looks, but his judgment, his decisions, his discipline, or the way he handles difficult situations, it reaches him on a deeper level. It tells him, I see the man you are, not just the surface you show. Complimenting his appearance might boost his ego temporarily, but recognizing his effort builds loyalty. When you say, I admire how you stayed calm in that situation, or I respect how focused you are on your goals, you are affirming the qualities he works hard to develop. You are reinforcing his sense of purpose. And purpose is what fuels a man's confidence. When he feels that his character is seen and appreciated, he naturally wants to protect and nurture the connection with the person who sees him that way. Attention can sometimes feel superficial to a man, especially if he senses it is given freely and without depth. He may enjoy it, but he won't necessarily attach meaning to it. Respect, however, feels earned. It feels solid. It feels like recognition of his effort. And when something feels earned, it holds more weight. That weight creates emotional investment. He starts to care more about maintaining that image in your eyes. He wants to continue being the man you respect. He wants to rise to the standard you've shown him. There is also a difference between admiration and validation. Attention often seeks validation. It asks for reassurance and constant engagement. Respect offers admiration without pressure. It doesn't demand, it acknowledges. A man who feels constantly tested or doubted may pull away, but a man who feels trusted will lean in. Trust communicates respect. When you believe in his ability to handle his responsibilities, make wise choices, or lead in certain situations, you're telling him you see strength in him. That belief can be more powerful than any compliment about his physical appearance. Respect also creates emotional safety. Many men struggle to express vulnerability because they fear being seen as weak or incapable. But when they feel respected, they are more likely to open up. They know that their value in your eyes is not fragile or based only on performance. They understand that you see their effort and their intentions. That foundation allows deeper connection to grow. Instead of performing for attention, he begins to show up authentically. Ultimately, when a man feels respected, he feels motivated, he wants to do more, be more, achieve more. not because he is pressured, but because he feels empowered. Respect energizes him. It strengthens his sense of identity. It tells him he matters beyond surface level attraction. And when a woman consistently makes a man feel valued for who he is, his integrity, his resilience, his mindset, she becomes rare in his life. In a world full of noise and shallow praise, genuine respect stands out. It creates loyalty, pursuit, and deeper emotional attachment. Attention might catch his eye, but respect captures his heart and keeps him invested for the long run. I love how you handle things. Those 5 words may sound simple, but to a man, they carry weight. They touch something deeper than flattery. They speak to his competence, his strength, and his identity. When you say that to him, you are not just complimenting an action. You are affirming the kind of man he believes himself to be. And when a man feels affirmed in his capability, it activates his drive to lead, to protect, to provide, and to pursue. Handling things is about responsibility. It's about how he responds under pressure, how he solves problems, how he manages challenges without falling apart. Many men measure themselves by how well they can navigate difficulties, whether it's stress at work, family issues, or unexpected obstacles. He takes pride in staying steady. So when you recognize that steadiness and say you love the way he handles situations, you validate something he has worked hard to build within himself. Those words make him feel capable. Capability is tied to confidence. When a man feels capable, he feels powerful in a healthy way. He feels like he can make things happen. That sense of power fuels attraction because it increases his desire to show up fully. He doesn't just want to exist in your life. He wants to add value to it. He wants to fix what's broken, solve what's complicated, and make your world smoother. When you appreciate how he handles things, you reinforce that instinct rather than criticize it or compete with it. They also make him feel strong. Strength for a man isn't only physical. It's emotional control, mental focus, and resilience. When he keeps his composure during conflict or makes a tough decision without hesitation, hearing you admire it tells him you see more than the surface. You see the discipline behind the calm voice. You see the thought process behind the decision. That recognition deepens connection because he feels understood, not just observed. Most importantly, those 5 words make him feel seen. Being seen is different from being watched. Many men feel invisible in their efforts. They work, they plan, they think ahead, but rarely does someone pause and acknowledge the way they manage life's responsibilities. When you notice and verbalize it, you separate yourself from everyone else. You become the woman who pays attention to what truly matters to him. And when a man feels seen for his character rather than just his charm, something shifts inside him. That shift naturally makes him want to step up. Appreciation creates motivation. When you show him that you value his leadership and decision-making, he wants to live up to that image. He wants to keep earning that admiration. It's not about ego. It's about identity. He begins to think, if she believes I handle things well, I want to handle them even better. That mindset pushes him to improve, to plan dates more thoughtfully, to communicate more clearly, and to pursue you with intention. Pursuit thrives on positive reinforcement. Criticism often causes withdrawal, but respect inspires action. When a man feels doubted or micromanaged, he may feel challenged in a defensive way. But when he feels trusted and admired, he leans forward. He invests more energy. He initiates more. He takes pride in being the one who can create stability and direction in the relationship. Those 5 words subtly tell him you trust his leadership, and trust fuels pursuit. There is also an emotional safety in hearing that affirmation. It tells him he doesn't have to constantly prove himself in your presence. Instead of performing for approval, he can operate from confidence. That confidence makes him more decisive and more consistent. And consistency is attractive because it builds reliability. Genuine appreciation creates emotional investment because it speaks to the heart, not the ego. There is a powerful difference between praising someone to get something from them and admiring them because you truly value who they are. Men can sense that difference more than most people realize. When admiration is strategic or manipulative, it feels hollow. It may work temporarily, but it doesn't build depth. However, when appreciation is real, consistent, and rooted in truth, it builds trust. And trust is the foundation of emotional investment. When you genuinely admire a man, you're not trying to control his behavior. You're acknowledging his effort, his character, and his intentions. That acknowledgement makes him feel secure in your presence. Security allows him to relax emotionally. Instead of wondering whether he's being judged or tested, he feels accepted. That acceptance opens the door for him to invest more of himself, his time, his energy, his vulnerability. Emotional investment grows where a man feels valued without conditions constantly attached. Real appreciation also reinforces positive behavior in a healthy way. When you notice the little things he does, the way he checks in on you, keeps his word, handles responsibilities, or stays calm under stress, and you express gratitude for them, you're telling him those efforts matter. People naturally move toward what feels appreciated. When his actions are recognized, he feels motivated to repeat them. Not because he's being trained, but because he enjoys the feeling of being respected and admired for who he truly is. Manipulation, on the other hand, often carries hidden expectations. It sounds like praise, but underneath it is pressure. When admiration is given only to extract attention, gifts, or commitment, it creates imbalance. A man may sense that something is off. He may feel like he's being managed rather than loved. That awareness can slowly erode. Trust. Emotional investment cannot grow in an environment where intentions feel unclear. It grows where sincerity lives. When appreciation is authentic, it creates connection. Connection is built on feeling understood. When you admire specific qualities about him, his discipline, his resilience, his patience, you show that you are paying attention. You are not just attracted to what he provides, but to who he is at his core. That depth of recognition strengthens the emotional bond between you. He begins to feel that being with you enhances his sense of self rather than threatens it. There is something powerful about earning praise from someone whose opinion matters. When your admiration is consistent and genuine, it carries weight. He doesn't feel like you compliment everyone the same way. He understands that your words are intentional and meaningful. That makes him want to maintain that image in your eyes. He wants to continue being the man you appreciate. This desire doesn't come from insecurity. It comes from pride. Pride in knowing that the woman he values sees something strong and admirable in him. Emotional investment also increases when a man feels safe to contribute. Genuine appreciation creates that safety. It removes the constant fear of criticism and replaces it with encouragement. Encouragement strengthens confidence. And when a man feels confident in how he shows up in a relationship, he naturally invests more. He plans more thoughtfully. He communicates more openly. He protects the connection because it feels rewarding, not draining. It is important to understand that genuine appreciation does not mean ignoring flaws or pretending everything is perfect. It simply means focusing on what is good and expressing gratitude for it honestly. Balance is key. When admiration outweighs criticism and when praise is specific rather than generic, it feels authentic. And a tick. Authenticity is what sustains emotional bonds over time. Appreciation plus space equals attraction because it creates the perfect balance between warmth and mystery. When you show a man respect and genuine admiration, you make him feel valued. But when you immediately follow that with constant availability, over texting, or emotional pressure, you unintentionally remove the tension that fuels pursuit. Attraction thrives in balance. It needs connection, but it also needs room to breathe. When you appreciate a man sincerely, you activate his desire to show up as his best self. He feels recognized and respected. That emotional boost increases his confidence. But confidence alone does not create pursuit. Pursuit begins when there is something to move toward. If you are always right there, always initiating, always filling every silence, he has nothing to lean into. Space gives him that opportunity. Leaning back does not mean playing games or pretending you do not care. It means allowing the energy to flow toward you after you have already expressed warmth. When you say something meaningful like, "I admire how you handled that," and then you go back to living your life, focusing on your goals, your hobbies, your peace, you create healthy distance. That distance is not emotional coldness. It is independence. And independence is attractive because it signals value. And slightly mysterious, value is not just about beauty or status. It is about emotional stability, self-respect, and purpose. When you are not constantly seeking reassurance or chasing validation, you communicate that your life is already full. He senses that being part of your world is a privilege, not something you are begging for. That subtle shift changes the dynamic completely. Mystery does not mean secrecy. It means not revealing everything all at once. It means allowing him to discover layers of you over time. When you combine appreciation with space, you give him a taste of emotional connection without overwhelming him. You show him that you see him and respect him, but you are not clinging. That balance keeps his curiosity alive. Curiosity fuels pursuit because the mind naturally wants to explore what it does not fully have yet. Space also allows a man's natural instincts to activate. Many men are wired to enjoy the process of earning something meaningful. When everything is handed to him with no effort required, the excitement fades quickly. But when he feels he must step forward, initiate conversations, plan dates, or maintain connection, he becomes invested. Effort builds attachment. The more he invests time and energy, the more emotionally connected he becomes. Another powerful aspect of space is that it prevents emotional burnout. When communication is constant and intense from the beginning, it can create pressure. Pressure often leads to withdrawal. But when interaction is balanced, it feels refreshing rather than overwhelming. He associates you with positive emotions instead of obligation. That positive association strengthens attraction naturally. Leaning back also protects your own value. It reminds you that you are not responsible for carrying the entire connection. If he is interested, he will step forward. If he does not, you gain clarity without exhausting yourself. This mindset keeps your confidence intact. Confidence is magnetic because it shows you are secure, whether he chases or not. That security makes him more likely to chase. Attraction grows strongest in an environment where both people feel chosen, not chased. When you show appreciation, you create emotional warmth. When you create space, you allow him to choose to move closer. That choice makes his pursuit intentional rather than reactive. Intentional pursuit leads to deeper commitment because it is driven by desire, not pressure. In the end, attraction is not built on games, desperation, or constant attention. It is built on understanding. When you recognize that a man craves respect more than flattery, you begin to speak to his heart instead of just his ego. When you tell him, "I love how you handle things," you affirm his strength, his capability, and his identity. That genuine appreciation creates emotional investment because it makes him feel seen, valued, and inspired to rise higher. And when you combine that appreciation with space, you allow his natural desire to pursue, to awaken. You are not chasing, you are inviting. You are not forcing, you are allowing. Respect builds connection. Authentic admiration deepens loyalty. Space fuels pursuit. Put those together, and you create a dynamic where he doesn't feel pressured to chase. He genuinely wants to.